G'day guys, welcome to the channel, and I'm finally back into it after having 2 weeks holiday in Thailand, which was awesome. Really great trip. Had time to unwind, recoup some energy, and eat a lot of really good food, drink some nice drinks, you know what it's like. Anyway, I came back and I'm feeling lazy. And anyway, I had to sort of really kick myself in the butt and try to get back into it. So I hooked into it today, which is why I look like a chimney sweep already. Basically what we've done, as you can see, the car's on the rotisserie, and now I'm under the pump because I've agreed to have this car ready to get the torsion beam test done mid to late October. We're now in the beginning of October. So I've basically got a couple of weeks to finalise all of the metalwork, structural steel, any of the alterations, modifications, what have you, any steel work, it all has to get done. So that's what I'm doing. So anyway, I'm going to be working on the underside, which is, I actually started it already, but we'll jump into a bit of time lapse in a minute. Tying up any loose ends underneath, and I'm going to be working on the boot floor. I actually decided to weld the boot floor in final and work out a different way of lifting it. Before I had the boot floor so it was removable, and I had a beam in between the chassis rails that I would hook the crane on, but I'm going to figure out a different way of doing it. Probably have like 2 lifting points mounted permanently in the chassis. Well, maybe anchor points, and then I'll have like lifting lugs that screw into them so they're removable. Obviously not going to have the car with 4 big lifting lugs like permanently mounted in it, but anyway. And for those of you out there that are saying, what the hell's he talking about? Why is he talking about lifting a car with a crane? Well, it's simple. I've got a crane business and I'm just used to lifting stuff with cranes, and I don't have a hoist. So in order to get under this car, what I do is I lift it up and stick it on top of a frame so I can walk underneath it, and it just makes it kind of handy. So for the time being, that's what we're going to be doing. So anyway, stick around, hope you enjoy it, and thanks for watching. Okay, so basically what I've been doing is trying to reduce weight. No, not really. I've just been cutting off stuff that I don't need. So I got to work and I cut off all these, you know, the old spring hangers and any sort of old brackets and stuff, and that's actually the beam or rod that I had welded between the chassis rails for lifting the back end of the car at least. And so yeah, so I've gone ahead and cut the spring hangers off and pretty much welded all the seams up, and at this stage I'm thinking of leaving it like that. Obviously, you know, I'll go over it with body filler and sort of smooth it all out, but it's all welded up and I've ground the welds and everything. So what else? I had to do some welding on this area here just to it was just parts that I didn't get done when the car was up on the frame. So finished welding all of those in. Another thing that I'm going to have to get onto, and that's, well, I've already done one side, that's this area here. Originally, if I can get a decent shot, it looked like that because I wasn't, so it was like that right across, and that's before I decided to put my shock mount here, and so having done that, it obviously doesn't work. So I'm going on the other one. I just cut all of that out, as you can see, and just basically sculptured it so that it was the same shape as the actual chassis rail. Yeah, a bit of a look inside. So that was how that was before, and now I've sort of, yeah, just put a little hump in there. Things like seams, you know, body seams, like in this area on that side, I've gone ahead and welded them up so I can, you know, put body filler over it, make everything smooth. it seems like there's a lot of work, but I'm pretty sure I can get it all done in a couple of weeks. So yeah, I just have to cross fingers, hook into it, and yeah, get on with it as usual. Okay, so that's done. Now I've actually got this template which was from the other side, and I think that it'll do the job. Yep, pretty much. So I'll go ahead and trace that out and get it cut and see what happens. Ooh, how about that? Yeah, we'll use that. That didn't work. Oh well. Yeah, it's good enough. I ended up putting pie cuts in the other one. It's probably as much as I'm going to get from it. Okay. Tighter radius. Yo, too much. Yes. Close, but not close enough. Stop trading yourself for the approval from others. Ladies and gentlemen, weirdos and geeks, please repeat after me. I don't give a... Right, next on the agenda, I'm looking at this boot floor that I've made, this panel that fills in the area where the fuel tank would have originally been. And although I've made this this panel out of 1.2 and I've put pressings in it so that it's got some strength, I'm still not 100% confident that that's enough the way it is. So what I was thinking of doing was using a little bit of small box section and just run a couple of pieces as bracing, you know, as support for the actual floor itself. So I'm thinking about maybe bringing it through here and then V'ing off there and then having one long one down there. So fairly simple. This one can just be straight, but these two are going to have somewhat of a curve to follow the panel. So anyway, I'll work it out. So that's what we'll jump into now. Alright, slight deviation in plans. Since I decided to put a little bit of support under this boot floor, I got in there and I started having a look, and I decided to actually cut out those pieces there, which were original panels, but after looking at them, you know, they offended me. So basically cut them out, and I'm sort of halfway through replacing them. So I've done this side, that's just sitting there, of course. I'm going to have to drill some holes so I can plug weld down the chassis rail, and yeah, so I'll go ahead and I'll make the other side. We'll get them all fitted up, and then what I've decided to do is, before I weld it all in, I'm going to go ahead and get the little sandblaster in here and just clean all inside the chassis rails and all just up in here, you know, where there's been work that's been getting done, and just make sure that it's all clean, like say back in there, tail light panel and everything. I just want to get it all clean, get everything primed in epoxy. Then I'll go ahead and fit the panel here for the floor, boot floor, and get it all welded in solid. So that's the plan. Okay, so spent about half a day cleaning up all the sand, and now I'm back to where I started, which is ready to put some type of support frame under this boot floor. Anyway, we'll go ahead and we'll make the frame up. Well guys, that about wraps it up for the boot floor and the underneath of the rear, I think. Anyway, let's have a look at it. I think it's come out rather nice. It's all welded in, it's all plenished off. Still need to be primed obviously, and then obviously the finishing touches is filler later on, you know, for any of those little knickknacks. What I might do is I'll just lift it up and we'll have a quick look underneath. Yeah, so that's all done. It did really look nice, you know, with the panel on its own. But two things, I just didn't feel comfortable just leaving a big piece of sheet metal like that without any type of support. And the other thing is, I don't think it's likely that this area is going to be left exposed, because what I'm planning on later on is possibly dropping this panel down about 30 or 40 mil just to tie into lowered sills, so it'll kind of like, there'll be more of a continuous line, and possibly also having like a diffuser over this area. So that's going to kind of cover all of this up. And there was a bunch of other stuff that came off the Mustang, because I'm trying to keep the whole system of the Mustang integrated into this Falcon and working. Yeah, there's, I don't know, do you know what that big box thing was that went underneath the spare tyre on the Mustang?
No.
I have no idea either. Anyway, there was something. Had hoses and stuff going to it. Looked important. So anyway, yeah, so that's about it for this episode. I think in the next one I'll be jumping onto the front of the car. We'll weld the aprons in final, and I'll be making the radiator support. So thanks for watching. If you've stuck it through this far, appreciate it. And if you haven't already, please consider subscribing, liking and sharing. So see you next time.